Hello and welcome to yet another episode of Beyond the Bites, a show that deals with the trending issues concerning the region. In a country where receiving higher education remains a dream for a large section of the youth due to their financial constraints and geographical locations, it is vital that those who get the opportunity to go for higher education have proper access to the best of facilities and, most importantly, employment opportunities so as to provide succor to the higher education scenario. Now, coming to the context of the Northeast, it is a belief that institutes of higher education in the Northeast find it rather difficult to smoothly place their students on campus. Is it a truth, is it a reality, or is it just a myth? To discuss this, to know more about it, I have with me today Ranjan Barua, who is a counselor and a social entrepreneur, and of course he writes regularly for the Assam Tribune. Welcome, Ranjan, to the show. I also have Dr. Archana Goswami, a former HOD, Department of Chemistry, Cotton University, and of course somebody who was in charge of the placement cell of the university. A very warm welcome, ma'am. Thanks for being here today with us.
Thank you.
And I also have with me Dr. Loya Agarwala, who is a counselor and a personality development consultant, if I'm not mistaken, ma'am. A very warm welcome to you to the show. And I also have Dr. Amrita Ganguly, Assistant Professor, Assam Engineering College. Thanks very much, ma'am, to come here. She's also joined by Dr. Nabajit Saikia, who is also an assistant professor of Assam Engineering College, and both Dr. Ganguly and Dr. Saikia are in charge of the placement cell of Assam Engineering. So thank you all of you for being here. Not to forget a small selected bunch of audience that we have, youngsters who will have, I'm sure, a lot of questions for the panelists, the counselors that we have here in this show today. So a very warm welcome to all of you. I would straight away go to Ranjan Barua. Ranjan, are the institutes of higher education in the Northeast facing a problem as far as campus placement is concerned? First question to you.
Yes, it's more than 100% sure, because whether government or private, most of the institutes, except one or two institutes, they are having tough time with the campus placement. There are many regions which of course we can talk, but it's not easy, because you said already about geographical thing, and the students need to be prepared well. So somewhere preparation of the students, reach out to the corporates or companies or the institutes where they are going to be placed, and also about the employability skills. The absence of these things, it's together they make it very difficult for our youngsters immediately when they pass out from any of the institutes from anywhere in Northeast. They really get difficult time. They have a tough time to be employed in any of the corporates or companies, except few. Yes, except few institutes have done well, but mostly from my own experience I am telling you, I get a lot of phone calls from students who have recently passed either postgraduates or even engineering or diplomas. They say the tough time they are having is that they are not getting sustainable placement anywhere.
Dr. Goswami, Ranjan has just said the debate ruling saying that students in Northeast do face a problem when it comes to campus placements. What, according to you, are the major factors that contribute to this?
Well, you see, the concept of campus placement is relatively new as far as we are in the Northeast are concerned. Actually, the first, I think about 10 years back or 10 or 12 years back, we had the first campus placements in Cotton College. But then the corporates were receptive, and one advantage which we had was that the students from the Northeast who were employed in those areas, they were very interested in getting their companies to come and recruit over here. But then the problem, as he said, is that the students or the candidates which we put forward are not, shall we say, qualified or according to what the company wants. What we have and what the company wants or what the corporate sector wants are two different things. They don't match, and that is where the biggest problem comes in.
Okay, so not matching up to the quality. Dr. Agarwala, let's keep aside the IITs and the IIMs and the NITs, and let's get into the other institutes, private universities, central universities, state universities. Are they facing a problem when it comes to campus placement?
Yes, there are, because what happens is we have a very academic rich syllabus, whether it's in schools or in universities. We don't have social skills being inculcated in the syllabus. So unfortunately what happens is some of the children get left behind. And academically we have a lot of brilliant students, but unfortunately because we don't inculcate these skills from a young age, which should be the norm, our children fall back when we come to national, national integration with regards to soft skills. So that is a big flaw actually in our systems. And by the way, I'm not a doctor just yet. I write Mrs. Agarwala.
Okay, great. Dr. Ganguly, if I can have you here, you come from an institute where you're imparting a professional degree. So
Yes.
do you also as an institute face the same dilemma as we are talking about right now?
Yes, up to an extent it is correct that our region, our colleges do face some problems with the placement, but the reasons now is that the competitions have increased. Lot many colleges are there outside the region where the companies already get the qualified candidates from those regions. And another thing, as Mr. Barua was saying, that the industry ready candidates and the syllabus that is being imparted to the students academically is more, you can say it is more academically rich, more theoretical, but actually what the company want is skill ready. Now, employable engineers or employable candidates for the campuses, not just with the degree, but also the skill, the knowledge, and the companies now do not have the time to train them separately for 2-3 years for make them employable in their companies. So they would now like to recruit those candidates who are already have a know-how in that field. So that is very important, increasing the employability of the students.
Absolutely.
And for that, skill development is very important.
Absolutely. So companies need employable candidates. I would like Mr. Saikia, Dr. Saikia, to come in here. Is a conscious effort being made in this regard to make the students, the candidates, employable so as they are easily hired by the companies in this part of the country?
See, if you talk about our institute, this is Assam Engineering College. Of course, we started organizing some events or say some sessions so that we can enhance the soft skills of the students as well as the technical skills of the students. And we go to the students actually every week, and we try to spark among them or inside them that they really need to enhance their capacity, capability, and this thing and the skills, so that they can really compete with the students from the other regions. Okay, we're doing that, but see, you need the environment for that, and that the regional environment somehow it is. I think that there still remains ample scope to enhance the environment. We need to organize sessions or some activities in small towns or say big towns, somehow involving some social organizations, so that we can really attract the students.
So there's a scope for a lot of orientation to be done. Ranjan, I would like you to come in here. Do you think the institutes have been able to bring in enough companies to have a look at the students?
Clearly, no.
A big
See,
no.
we cannot blame the students. A student coming and taking admissions in the first semester, be it engineering, management, or anywhere, they are not much aware of what is the employability scene. So it is a responsibility of the particular institute, except like Assam Engineering College, they have been doing it for a couple of years, I know. But look at all the private universities in Assam. Ask them about their campus placement, and I'm sure even they have failed to they will be failing to give placement to even their first batch student. Because mostly, again, look at the thing from background. When people who are not from the academic background, if they start some institute, their whole thing is making money. So anyway, that's a different thing. But as a student, he or she cannot go and bring a company. So it's the responsibility of that particular campus cell or a placement cell. They have to non-stop, they have to work. The liaising between a company and the institute is not a job of a student. So it's a job of that particular, either professors or the admin or principals or whomever we call it. So it's first their responsibility. Then coming back, yes, of course, after the training needs, after the grooming up of the students' needs. But initially, the first and foremost is the connection, the communication with any of the company's corporate. Who would do it? Is the responsibility of the particular institute, and I have seen most of the institute, except few, have miserably failed. In Guwahati, yes, some of the institutes are having campus placement. I went to some college who are yet to hear what is called campus placement. So see the responsibility. So they are not yet aware of, because I go to different colleges across Assam and Northeast. So I would blame yes, though it's a little bit we are ailing in this part, but I would obviously I'll blame the particular institute, because they are yet to take more steps to bring in more companies.
So, Dr. Goswami, do you think mushrooming of too many institutes is also discouraging the companies to come in? Because
It's not the mushrooming. I'll tell you what is the problem. The problem is that when the corporates or the companies come, they look for specific subjects maybe, or specific specializations. Now, we have small colleges spread all over the northeast. Maybe say, let us take physics. How many students are there who are doing physics major, who have the required marks so that they can appear in the company interview? How many students are there in mathematics, because these are the ones where the companies look for them? How many students take mathematics? You don't mathematics major, you don't have students taking mathematics major. So, when you don't have the, what shall I say, the raw material, why should the companies come? You can't bring them, you can't say I have 10 students in my college, please come. They won't come.
would you agree to that, Mrs. Agarwala? There is lack of quality manpower, quality students for the companies to
No,
choose
not
from.
quality, quantity.
Quantity and quality,
quality.
of course, at the same time.
Yeah.
I do agree with that, because as I've already said, there is a dearth of this kind of social skills awareness. I think it's very important for us as educators to very early on in a child's life to inculcate the skills and make sure that we are gearing our children towards the learning of these skills as alongside curriculum, alongside the academics. Because then what happens is, at the end of the time, when they've reached class 12 and onwards, they are then ready. They're almost ready to be able to face any environment that we put them in. So, for example, if we were to talk of an action plan, for example, say if a child was about to join a campus placement, there are 6 things that a child needs to know. The first thing that they have to know is that they have to know they've got to have a very good resume. They've got to have an excellent research basis on what research on the company that they've decided to go into. They have to have very good SWOT analysis. They must know about themselves, their strengths, their weaknesses. So these are the things they can be prepared for from much before. After that, we can talk about the personal interview. We can talk about the group discussions. We can talk about the other things that are important for them. So they must be geared for this from a young age. It's very essential.
Dr. Ganguly, for somebody who comes from an institute which is offering professional courses, life might be a bit easier when it comes to actually getting the students placed. But can you ensure that there is no underemployment? Can you ensure that they are being employed as they deserve?
No, they are not being employed as they deserve. The reason is like in our college, students are coming from all over the state, from different parts of the state. Students from this Guwahati and metropolitan region, they are good in communication skills. They can present themselves very well. They have that advantage over the students who are coming from a little bit backward. And we in our college, being a government college, we have lots of students coming from different parts of the state, and where maybe they have been coming from the vernacular background. So their English speaking or their communication skills may not be up to the mark. So I don't think only a placement cell, but a training and placement cell is important.
Yeah, training and placement.
The training of the students, first 2 years training, it will be on the development of themselves. They should first appraise themselves where they stand, and then they have to, groom themselves up to a level. I think before this placement season starts, as soon as the student enters the college, the grooming should start right then. First to 4th semester should be spent entirely on grooming the students, aptitude, knowledge, communication skills. And when you talk about communication skills, I don't think you have to have very flowery language for communication. You have to communicate. What you have to communicate is your ideas. You have to communicate yourself to the other person, to the person who is sitting across the table. You have to you have to communicate your ideas. Flowery language might not always be the solution for that. So communication skills is very
all
important.
that sounds very good. Students should concentrate more on the communication skills at the same time. But Ranjan, do you think it is one thing to prepare students in communication skills, a lot of orientation, preparing them for the big job, but do you think even after doing all this, the institutes here are being able to bring the key players to recruit those students? I have heard of several cases where engineers were forced to work as marketing marketing executives, because that was paying more than his job as an engineer.
Right.
So despite all this, if we assume that an institute has achieved all this, good communication skills plus the degree plus the knowledge background, is it still possible to get in the key players to recruit those students even when they are company ready?
See, initially before the placement, I would request our teaching fraternity to make their mind to that they are going to really place the students. Apart from normal academic curriculum, because from childhood we have been told get marks, get marks, get marks. But tell me one job where it is written that if you get 100 or 100 you will get a job. There is no job. There is only minimum is written, either 60%, 50%. So we have been told such a way that if you get a more marks, something like you will be more successful. But when you really come into placement, then you are nowhere. So this is what you have asked. I would say is this: initially, all the teachers, the admin people, the people behind the institute, they should be mentally prepared. Yes, this is our challenge, that we are going to make our campus such a way that campus placement takes place. Yes, if they get ready, and this orientation of whatever skills you are talking about, communication, life skills, or all about skills, these are possible. Because see, at the end of the day, I also look for a good job. I have a dream profession, so I am ready to do anything. But that things needs to be put in the mind instead of just getting marks. Like what you have said, like I would like to quote Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam's one of the book Advantage India, where he have mentioned that more 80% of our engineers are not employable. Not only marketing, see, most of the bank jobs are now taken away by the engineers, and now commerce students are crying, art students are crying. All the time whenever I go, they say, all engineers have come, now we are having tough time. So what they learn, even some of my friends who learn chemical engineering, mechanics, said, what do you do to HCl, H2SO for and counting money? What are you doing? What was you studied and what you are doing? So this is why this has happened. This has happened because there was lack of planning. Not only the student. I would more blame the teachers, the admin people, the institutes.
Yes.
If they plan well, systematically, I personally believe if no campus, if no corporates come, they can be well self-employed, provided they are imparted all these skills from beginning when they join the campus.
So the basics have to be set right, the right set of skills have to be imparted. On this note, we'll take a short break. Don't go anywhere, a lot more coming on the other side. Welcome back. You're watching Beyond the Bytes. Before the break, we just had Ranjan making this very valid point that the right set of skills need to be imparted to make students ready for employment. Dr. Goswami, you have been somebody who has been a teacher plus in charge of a placement cell. Would you agree with that observation?
No, see, the students, the main thing which we feel, especially in this part of the world, is communication. When you want to a company to employ you, you have to sell yourself. And when you have to sell yourself, I correct me if I am wrong, but I think in our nature in this region we do not beat our own drum. So you have to learn how to speak properly. The accent is not the problem. You have to be grammatically correct and you should make the other person understand, because obviously a person who is coming from Nalbari will have a different accent and a different way of speaking than one who is coming from Dibrugarh or maybe from Shillong or wherever. So all these people have to be confident in what they are saying. I still remember an interview with a multinational bank where the recruiter came to me almost in tears and said, ma'am, these people have such good marks. And it was not only our college, we had a joint event. They have such good marks, but they can't speak a grammatically correct sentence. So this communication gap which we are facing is very, distressing. And somehow maybe, just pardon me, I'll lapse into Ahomia. Ami Ahomia manu, we don't like to say I can do this and I can do that. It's breaking down, but it's still there. You go to an audience reaction and you have those group discussions and the recruiter says, okay, now please, he talks and all, any questions, and there's just pin drop silence. I think we've all faced this at one point. They don't get up and ask. They don't get up and talk. They don't get up and quarrel. So, automatically they get a backseat. That communications has to be taught, whether you teach it at school level or at college level. It's not just the debaters who have to talk. It is everybody who has to be able to talk.
So, coming to you, Mrs. Agarwala, on this point, do you think the onus is completely on the institute to take up this issue? Secondly, is it practically possible to address this within the 3 years or 4 years or 5 years of degree that a student pursues from that institute to make the student employable through communication skills plus the degree that they're imparting?
All right. It's a way of life. It's a way of life. Fluency in English has to come from a very young age because they have to think in the language. So therefore, we're not talking about, I'm from England, so I speak in this accent, but I think the Indian accent is beautiful, and that's the way it should be spoken. But it should be, as Ma'am has said, it has to be grammatically correct. That is the number one criterion. And you should be able to express what you say, what you want to say is what you should be able to express. So these are the two things that are absolutely essential for every child.
Sorry to just intervene here. You are saying there's no hope beyond English? There's no hope without English? That's what...
Well, this is the language of India. The corporate language of India is English. So therefore, we must be conversant in it with such fluency that we can think exactly what we want to say and be eye to eye with any counterparts all over India and all over the world. That's what I believe. And I also believe that the onus lies with the parents at home, that you don't have to speak in English to them, but at least let them see the news every day, let them read a newspaper every day, let them know what is right and wrong, make sure they understand that English doesn't sound right. They may not know why it doesn't sound right, but they may be able to tell that, yes, this sentence sounds incorrect. That is more than enough for now, and that is what I feel is essential. We have to inculcate these language issues from a very, very young age in our children.
So it's very important to learn English. There's no hope beyond English. How many in the audience agree with this? Can you raise your hands? How many would agree with that view? Others don't seem to agree. All of you don't seem to agree. Would you like to air your views on that? Why would you not agree with that? No, the people who are not agreeing with it. If you can just say a word or two. You have your reservations. You have your reservations.
This is just the problem I was telling you about.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, this is just what I was telling you
May I
about.
make a point?
And it is not only in English.
Right.
Sometimes they come recruiting for people who know Assamese, who know Bengali, but there again the same thing. You have to be grammatically correct. You have to know your language. Otherwise, it's no use because it's not.
I'm sure you have a point to make. Yes.
Yeah, no. Today's discussion, first of all, I would like to thank you, first of all, to such a wonderful discussion. So, Mr. Ranjanda, yes, that is, campus interview is very important. I am agree with ma'am also, yes, speaking English is also very important. Without speaking English, it is impossible to adjust with the corporate house, is it? It is very important. But thing is that, whatever ma'am has rightly mentioned, the thing is that is from our childhood also. Oh, you are speaking English, that we are throwing label and all. That is our environment doesn't allow to speak in English. That there should be huge awareness to speak in English anywhere and everywhere. But those people from the Assamese medium, we are in village, we are from village, we are from the vernacular medium as well as. But if you speak English somewhere, oh, where are you from? Are you from England? Why you are speaking English like that?
He's absolutely right.
Absolutely correct.
Because how many schools in Assam or the Northeast actually speak in English in the corridors? They speak in the vernacular language in the corridors.
Yes.
I challenge the institutions.
Yeah,
I
they
ask
do.
you,
They
how
do.
many of the children do actually speak in English in the corridors? The corridor language is usually either Hindi or Assamese,
Yes.
unfortunately.
That is the main
and
problem.
you're absolutely
That
right.
is
It's
the
a
main
psyche.
problem.
It's a
In
psyche.
corporate
It's a
sector.
mindset.
And
Coming
Yes.
one more question to Mr. Ranjanda. You have said that campus interview is the big problem. Even the institute, those who are honored, they also don't know the concept of campus interview. But thing is that, suppose in Guwahati companies is very less. In Guwahati, we are starting salary is 10,000, where it is in Delhi, it is starting from 30,000. Why this gap? This is also my question. Why this is the
Very
big gap? Why,
valid
why
point,
this gap?
Ranjan.
Yes, I am ready to answer it. It's because you have been not told to bargain. So this is what we need to learn. I have seen many of my friends who have bargained and they said, no, we are not going to work less than this. But here the bargain begins from below, because see, the same thing what I am trying to tell you is campus placement doesn't mean only going and appearing in an interview, it's also your salary. How do you bargain? If they say I am going to give you 5,000, I have to straight and say, no, I cannot work. A labor gets more than, if we just imagine a labor 300 rupees per day, it's 9,000. So I ask my students, at least you take more than 9,000, never come. So the problem is again, how we are oriented. Who would orient us? So ma'am, I agree to you that everything should be from home, but all parents may not be aware of this thing. That's why we are going to campuses, that's why we are going to colleges. So there should be someone like ma'am said, there should be a full-time like placement, training, this cell, which has been missing in most of the campuses.
No, if
so
it's there, it's only a name.
that's what I'm saying.
It's
The
only a
first,
name.
if the
Just
teacher,
for
if
name's sake,
teacher
just
become
for
interesting,
name's
then
sake.
they can tell us how much is earned.
Even for 8,000, 10,000 in
Even
private
less than that,
private
even
college,
less than
less
that.
than
Yes.
10,000. How it could possible?
It's
Suppose person is having a good degree with a professional
Because
degree.
you have never been oriented well by the people who are supposed to orient us.
So placement cells only for namesake. Would you like to counter that, Dr.
No,
Ganguly?
yes, I would like to counter that. It is not just for namesake. We try our level best to bring in the companies, and we have lots of companies coming in. Actually, I'm talking about my college. I don't know about the placement cell of the other
that's a
colleges, but what I'm talking about my institute, we do try to bring in companies, and they come. And it is not that persons who are from the vernacular medium are not getting placed. They are getting placed in very good companies.
Okay, let me put it this way. What are the major challenges that you are facing bringing those companies in?
Yeah.
And you can be honest about it.
Yeah. First is the retention rate in the companies. Like students, once they get placed in the company, would not like to remain in the company for more than a year. And when, after the company comes here, and and our region, it's very, it hurts our feelings, but it is true that we are not very hardworking.
No, I don't
when you come to
agree. I don't
retention-
agree.
No, but if suppose a civil engineering student gets placed in a company where there are lots of hard work, working under the sun and all. So if that person stays on for 3 years, then goes to a very high position. But somehow, we have some companies we have lost because have students have not retained. Secondly, the region,
Yes.
of course, another demographic, that region. The region also plays an important role in the sense that sometimes they are bit reluctant to come to this region for placements. And maybe they do not have, as ma'am says, quantity. They come for 1 or 2 colleges, but whereas the other regions have, in one small place, they have surrounding 100 colleges where there are lots of students
But
available.
is it, Dr. Saikia, is it also because they don't have, the companies themselves don't have any setups here, any units here for which they are not that bothered to come and recruit?
Yeah, that is, of course, that is a vital region. I mean, that is one thing, because see, if a company has a setup in a particular region, besides English, that local language
Absolutely,
is
absolutely. That's the point we are
necessary.
making here
Okay,
today.
That is one. And secondly, what is happening in particularly in technical education, see, many new institutes have come up. Like IIT, so many number of IITs, then NITs, then state engineering colleges, then private engineering colleges, and all these. Okay, so you consider Hindustan Unilever, just for an example. Okay, one company which needs say 5 candidates. Okay, if they can get 5 candidates from NITs, why to consider state colleges? Okay, because their HR group also would be communicating to too many organizations, then for them also it become complex. So that is another factor. So thing is that institute wise also we need to,
grow.
I mean, somehow try to, take ourselves to such a position such that we become really attractive, or we will be attracting the organizations.
Ranjan, Ranjan, coming back to you at this point, do you think it just can't be all about English? Is the right set of skills imparted to the right set of people? Because if we see English, Northeast comparatively is much better
Better
in
than
spoken
other
English than
places.
the rest of the country. If we go to other parts of the country, Haryana, Rajasthan, Uttar Pradesh, I think we have got better English skills. But what probably we are lacking in is imparting the right set of skills, making the students ready with a vision that this is the market they're going to tap. And Loya is free to counter Ranjan on this. Yes.
See, very simple. Now, are we campus placement? Does it mean that we are only sending them to corporate or making them employable?
Absolutely.
That's the thing.
Absolutely.
So, if you are just behind the corporates, see, one is of course we can invite corporates, ask them to get interviewed, or maybe there are other resources we have through which we can make them employable. So, it's like what Sir said, I will just counter to Sir before. If NIT can give 5, why AEC cannot fight it? Why AEC cannot have a SWOT analysis with NIT and saying, if NIT can give, why not AEC can produce that 5 students? Then that would be the real challenge of the people from AEC. And let's take it in a positive way. Then let's AEC look at, if NIT can give 5, next time we are going to give 5. And for that we are going to make our students such we will be grooming them. So that's the thing that then what happened, the teamwork between the students or like prospective students or the aspirants as well as the thing. Coming back to the language thing, yes, not only English, it's all about when you confidence, even if you can, we have seen many people from abroad never speak English.
Yeah,
Someone from
that's
Germany,
exactly.
I have in my lifetime never
Absolutely.
seen them. I met Undersecretary of UN, they said no, I have a translator.
Yes.
But initially when they come, so what I would say, yes, it's always good to learn English, I am not against English, but if they are not aware of even English, I said they can do wonder. Even in Assamese they can proudly, or Hindi they can do it.
But Ranjan, does that necessarily mean that we are unable to bring in the right kind of companies?
Yeah. No. I won't agree to this. See, who would bring the companies? Who would bring the corporates? And now, what kind of students they are looking at? Who would do this research? Is it the student duty? No. Then whose duty is this? How do we connect? How do I, suppose I have an institute and I want to bring someone. So, I should depute someone who can look in the backgrounds of all these institutes, all these corporates, what they are looking at, what they are doing for last 5 years, 10 years. After all, it's all South Asian mentality. Lazy people are not only in Assam, even in other parts of the country you find. So, if students exposure, so it's all, India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, we more or less we get same set of people. So, the thing is we have to see is that what kind of how they are taking people, who do this R&D initially. This responsibility, I would say, if that particular department can do it, and then they sit down with the students and see these are the things for last 10 years, see this is the history, they are doing it this way, so you have to prepare this way. Then I am sure, may not be successful 100%, but at least we will be doing better than what we are doing now.
Here I would like to put in with my thing that, you know, this placement thing, all the teachers should be convinced, because many times we have had the experience that we have set up an interview, we have contacted the students, we have contacted companies, different colleges all coming together, and then someone schedules an examination on that very date. They say it's only placement, you try next year. You know, so the whole thing goes. So, everybody, it has to be a concerted effort, not just the training cell, not just the placement cell, not only the students unions have to be involved. They have to convince the students, because they at least in Assam the unions are very powerful, the students listen
Absolutely.
to them. So, you know, everybody should be think that placement does not necessarily have to be a company, a private company, it can be anything. Public sector companies are very good employers. A lot of people from Assam Engineering College are going into the public sector companies. You know, that outlook is missing. That outlook is missing. Everybody has to be involved. Oh, lawyers looking at placement. So, I am not bothered with her, you know, it is like that, I am not bothered, let her do what she wants.
I would like to add a point, like see, just bringing campuses, see how many students are getting graduation, I mean becoming engineers every year. So, it is not possible, there are not so many jobs available. So, one you know, like we have to train our students in such a way that they become self-employable. We have to start startup cells,
But our children,
entrepreneurship development. We have to look into all those.
Is that happening? Is that
Yes,
happening?
yes. We have
Is there
started.
a beginning? Is there a beginning?
It is. We have already started a startup
Yes,
cell in our
Mrs.
college.
I
Mrs. Agarwal
disagree.
wants to
I think
come
our
in.
children lack fire.
Yeah.
We have to be so hungry for what we want. It has to be like the air we breathe. Our children should not compromise on 10,000 rupees. They should fight. Where is the fire? There should be a knee-jerk reaction in our children that actually say, I'm not worthy of 10,000, I'm worthy of 20. And if you're not going to give it to me, well, I'll find someone who's going to accept me for 20. And we should not agree, because we have a subservient mentality, because again, I come back to this problem. When you are confident in a language, it gives you confidence. When you can master a language, it gives you confidence. And whether I know German, I know French, but I need to know English in India, because English is the language that is followed in India. It's the corporate language. So therefore, when you master a language, you gain confidence and you can see eye to eye with everyone.
Yeah, and
so we will not
get negotiating skills. You know,
yes.
what you were talking about, it's called negotiating skills.
Absolutely.
I have seen people in the higher ranks of private companies or whatever, anyway, they negotiate.
Right.
I mean, if the company is willing to give them, let me go to a good thing, they are willing to give them say 60,000 per month, they negotiate, and I don't know how they do it, but they bring it up to 80.
Right.
Because that negotiation skill is very important. The students have to be taught that just because they are giving it and you are getting a job, please
You have
don't
to
run
feel
try.
it.
Yeah,
There
yeah.
has to be a
Institutes-
sense of self-worth.
What I was
Institutes
making a point was
yeah.
not on the companies coming in. What about making our students
Yes.
in such a way
They are
that
employable anyway.
they can start something
Yeah,
themselves?
but today I think
Why
it's
not?
on
So
No,
institutes-
that is also a part
institutes-
of the training and placement,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
training part.
Yeah, the
The training
Institutes
part
needs to
comes.
have bigger placement cells, more people involved.
More
a
people
lot
into
needs to go in.
entrepreneurship development cells, startup
I would like
cells,
Ranjan
so
to
many
come in
things
here.
are there.
Yes, I would like Ranjan to come in here. Ranjan, don't you think, Mrs. Agarwal, I was just talking about the fire within, which
Yeah.
takes you beyond. Don't you think it is that fire which is taking thousands and thousands from the northeast to the mainland every year, and there's a brain drain?
Of course, they are going. Of course, everywhere. But yes.
So can we say there is no fire
No.
within us here in the region,
No,
because we are forced to move to the mainland?
No, it's-
Isn't that the case?
It's little bit different, because it's again difference as said society wise and our background wise. But the thing is that how do we see it? How do I get the confidence? From whom do I see as a role model? From whom do I learn? It should be either my parents or the teacher, someone. I should being a.
So are you saying it's a collective failure of a society, the institutes,
In case
the
of
organizations?
employability, in case of campus, yes, it's not only but more responsibility to the academic background and the campuses, because all parents may not be educated enough. So if they been educated enough, they may not have sent me to campus. They could have asked me to do some family business. Why should I go to some campus paying unnecessary money? The thing is that it's like, yes, Again, if you see somewhere, this is different players are here, and of course students, the parents, teachers, other institutes, even the governments, they can have big things, but they are not very serious about something on the campus. But yes, but I would rather say that the students from Northeast and Assam, most of them will do wonders, provided if we can really groom them.
definitely.
Absolutely.
And that what I would appeal that yes, this academic institutions, they should invite people who are really working in this field, and they should be given enough time. And if they say that no time, let it be evening time, let it be late night, no problem, because after all, it's all about related to jobs and our dream profession. It's possible, but more thing needs to be done.
Grooming is the need of the hour. We'll take a short break here. We'll come back with a lot more on the other side. Welcome back. You're watching Beyond the Bytes. We're discussing campus placements in Northeast, especially Assam. Is it a big challenge? Are the institutes doing justice to it? Before the break, we had Ranjan Barua, a career counselor, saying that proper grooming is missing, and the onus, of course, lies on the teachers, on the institute. Dr. Goswami, you had been a teacher and both in charge of a campus placement cell. Would you totally agree with Ranjan on this?
No, it is the responsibility of the teachers, and it is the responsibility of the teachers to create that social environment, you know. If you go to colleges outside, you will see that parents, teachers, the whole college kind of shuts down when the campus placements come. They have it for 10 days or whatever. Those days there are no classes. Everybody is just attending placements one after the other. We don't have that here. And the parents should also insist for this, or the guardians, if you say. The guardians may be parents, not only parents, guardians, that this placement culture and appearing in interviews, everything, this has to be, you know, taken care of. It has to be brought up to a higher level. I mean, why does a student who doesn't do anything over here in Guwahati, then he goes outside to Calcutta or Bombay or wherever, and he gets a fantastic job? It's the same person, same everything, but he manages it over there because he sees the difference.
So the onus lies with the parents as well. Yes, I see somebody in the audience wanting to say something. Yes, ma'am, you there.
Actually, I think that it's most of the people in Northeast are not that educated compared to the mainland Indian. Because due to that, the students are lacking behind in personality development. So I don't totally agree with that, you know, that students need to have, you know, that English accent or the way of communication, because most of the parents are not educated enough and they are not able to give that.
I disagree. I don't think parents necessarily have to be educated in order to bring up a child who is educated and fully literate and can speak very good English. I've seen cases where parents can't speak at all. You know, they only speak Assamese at home, but yet the child ends up speaking an excellent English and actually doing very well. So it doesn't really matter, even if the parents are illiterate. They may have certain levels of emotional intelligence which are not academically. They may not have a mark sheet to prove that. But again, it's to do with the environment in which the child is brought up.
That's also depends upon the school they are going on.
Absolutely,
the schooling is
absolutely it does.
Yeah, it takes a major role. The schooling is what we need actually, because when we come from an Assamese background, most of the parents are, you know, like very force their students or their children to go to in an English medium school, Assamese medium school. So I think the schooling is very important.
It's not forcing. In the other parts of the country, like of Assam, I don't think there are too many English schools which are there where students can go.
Exactly.
And colleges like where, you know, like government colleges and all, as I told you, we have students from all sorts of backgrounds, like, you know, vernacular background and everything, and we are facing the problem every day because, you know, like me and Nobo, we are actually into this placement. So see, everything is not lost just because you are from a vernacular medium. No, I would not agree to that. The thing is, you have to develop yourself. You have to groom yourself within this 3, 4 years or 2 years, whatever is there in your hands. You have to groom yourselves. You don't have to, as I told you, you don't have to speak very flowery English. No. What you have to do is, you have to speak in such a way that you get your ideas across.
Absolutely.
And you will learn in the job.
So
you will learn in the job.
You can communicate your ideas.
You can communicate. That is very, because I get this from the feedback from the companies that, look, ma'am, we do not want very good English. We do not want your students to be speaking, you know, fantastic English. What we want your student is that whatever we ask and what reply or what answer they give, we should understand that. That is enough for us.
Absolutely.
And if it is done confidently, we are ready to take that person. It is not whether it's a vernacular medium, English
basic
medium.
communication will still do the job. Now, we have been talking a lot about professional courses, engineers, technicians, NITs, IITs. What about those who are pursuing humanities? Is there no hope for them? We have Delhi University where companies come to hire, and somebody from a political science department or an English department gets hired for 12 lakhs per annum. But if we come here, the biggest of universities, be it Cotton University, be it Guwahati University, what is the hope for those pursuing humanities?
Yeah, the hope for humanities, I mean, it's there. Over here, we have good students, but then again, it tends to be skewed, you know. A very good students from humanities, once they pass graduation, once they graduate, they tend to go in for higher studies. They don't try to, you know, go in for other jobs. But we had companies
Are
like
they being
Google.
forced to? Because there's no option?
No, it's the environment, you know, it's the whole culture. That political science.
But don't you think that environment has sunk in because they have no option but to go for higher studies?
No, there is, because I'll tell you, when I was there, I won't mention names, some multinational companies, they came looking for these arts graduates. But then again, communication skills, they couldn't write English properly. I'm telling you, those were the things. About 120 or 130 set for the exam.
Let's talk about those who can write English properly. Let's talk about them.
No, they don't sit. I'm telling you.
You agree with that, Ranjan?
Yeah.
No, sometimes, as I'll see, if the students cannot write good English, if they cannot communicate, as we fail after the years, teachers should be also made fail. It's also the responsibility, particularly English department, they have to make sure students write.
Exactly.
3 years, what is this?
Yeah,
And if I cannot write, now, why I'm saying is that then students should force the teachers, the ma'am or sir, you should resign because you have no right. 3 years, it's not a, so why I'm saying this is that I have seen some of the institute. If a student cannot write good application, the constant teacher is ask, you have to reply why he or she cannot write good English.
See, in
Because
our exams,
as ma'am said,
I
we don't
will-
need to have very excellent English, but basic communication.
Yeah, communication,
Basic.
yes.
And like as you said, humanities, yes, we have been told there's an environment, and I'll blame some of the, of course, teaching fraternity. If you take political science, if you take history, if you take education, as if the world is lost for you.
See,
It's
nothing is
nothing is for you.
I'll just give you one example here, how we groom our students to speak
No, that's
a better
engineering.
English.
That is engineering, ma'am. That's
No,
what I'm saying.
that can be applied anywhere.
No, still.
Suppose you ask a question in a viva,
yeah.
and if that student is comfortable answering in Assamese,
Yeah.
we are ready to listen to that answer
Correct.
in Assamese. But I do not do that. I said, whatever broken English you say, you please answer in English. This will, prepare you for your campuses.
I think we're digressing.
Yeah.
My point was, we
regarding
have a
humanities.
humanities, we
Okay.
have the best of students
Correct,
here.
correct.
They are qualified,
Yeah.
they can write English, they are
Yes.
grammatically correct,
Yes.
they are best in their subjects.
Correct.
Do they have employment opportunities here? That is my question. Like in Delhi, we have publishing houses, you have so many
Correct.
opportunities where these students right after graduation can go and take up a job. Do they have the same option here? That was my question.
No, the question
only-
is, answer is this. that
Answer
the-
is this: they are not told about the options well. They really do not know what are the
So
options.
even if the options are there, they are paid peanuts. Let me tell you, a publishing house which is running, say, in Guwahati or in the northeast, is not going to pay a graduate student the kind of money he expects. He'll go off to Delhi, or she. They'll go to Delhi because there they'll get.
that
depends
is
on the
the
market
that is where the role of the placement cell comes
Correct,
in.
correct.
Why can't we get those companies from Delhi
Correct.
to come in here and hire our students from here?
they
Isn't
do
that the
come.
challenge that the campus placement cell should take up?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, they should.
It's a responsibility. They have to see this basic R&D is to be done by the campus placement cell or like training or placement cell. They have to look at which are the companies they're looking for people, maybe from humanities, maybe from commerce background or engineering or management, whatever. Like some of the institutes who are taking like Tata institutes, all you look at their placement, they have very good placement records because of the time when they're in campus, they're made to think everything. Here, suppose if I study humanities or something, as if I'm coming and going back, nothing else. And whenever I go and ask them, do you ever participate in seminars or workshop? Yes. What you did? No, I was there to give something like when felicitation was there, my name was invited, I offered tea and something. Whatever. Did you ever submit a paper? Paper? A student writes paper? Yes, why not? If teachers can write paper, why not students can write paper? This will increase your CV.
Absolutely,
Then they would ask you what is
absolutely.
CV. No
Very-
one is told them about CV and, as Madam said, no one tells them about CV and resume.
Exactly.
So whose responsibility? Parents, of course, my parents, even they still, if you ask me, they may not be knowing about resume and CV.
Right.
They know still biodata.
Absolutely,
So
very
this is
valid.
the responsibility
Yes,
of the placement cell.
very valid point made by Ranjan. Dr. Goswami, are universities, institutes, colleges here making enough efforts to engage students with the scholars, be it from within the region, outside the region, to expose them, to listen to them, to hear to lectures, to take in something? How often is that happening in the institutes in our city?
No, it happens, but okay, they try. I'm not going to blame the teachers. The teachers try quite a lot because they have studied in different institutions. They have seen the culture. but we need full time placement cells. A teacher is carrying out a full time job. Nowadays, you have to have the mandatory so many hours you have to spend teaching and so on. And then after that, no matter how well intentioned, that placement work suffers, because he or she cannot, give all that time which is needed.
Which is why we have structure has to be made.
Yeah,
like
that's
if
it.
the teacher is, taking care of a professor, he has to make a group. He or
Is it
she has to make a
possible?
group.
Like
Yes, it is being done.
Like
It
ma'am,
is being done.
full-time placement cell is really very
Really,
very
very,
important. in all the
important.
campuses.
That is
Which is
important.
why we have mushrooming of these institutes. I have my own institute now. I've had to do it after 15 years of counseling in schools. I've opened my own personality development center only with this intention of uplifting our children and our young adolescents from a very young age and our graduates, so that they are groomed in the right way to stand eye to eye with everyone. We have to do this. Before, there was no role for counselors 20, 30 years ago. Now we have a role for that for us. And the reason is because there's a lack in the system. That's why we have places now.
Yes, it is one thing to have counselors, and another is to get in key speakers, scholars to come attend functions, seminars in your college, institutes, universities to motivate the students. I would like Dr. Saikia to come in here. Dr. Saikia, I'm not talking in particular about Assam Engineering College, but how often do we have a company biggie coming down to the northeast to address engineering students to motivate them? And it's not about your college in particular, it's about any engineering institute across the region.
Yeah, but that in that component, probably Northeast is progressing. I mean, recently, very recently, people are thinking about that, and many institutes I am seeing that, or rather, we are observing, because in the sale we always look at different or certain particular institutes very well, or very aggressively we are following some institute, as Rajendra has already said. That why not NIT? Okay, NIT we always follow. Okay, what are they doing actually? Okay.
Yes, and we can keep the IIT and the IIMs away from
IIMs,
this,
we are,
because
we
they
are
at a
following.
different
We are
level.
following because see, that is our duty and responsibility, and we are a bridge between the students and those institutes. And what we are finding that when the big institutes are doing, we are also improving our those communications, or we are organizing some events, and what we are finding that some other colleges also are trying. Okay, so definitely that is happening, but see, we need a sort of social spark. Somehow
that's
we
what
need
I
to
said. Yeah, you need-
ignite that spark. Okay, that this should be done, and this should start at the school level.
Yes.
We need to know basically what shall I do in my life. Okay, what is the objective of my life, because my life is my life. Okay, so accordingly, see, we have many courses online. I need to know, okay, online courses are available. That information should be there.
Should be there.
So
That
it is all boiling down collective effort from the very basic level. Ranjan, as a career counselor, have you seen helplessness among the students who are trying to make it big, who are trying to get employed, and what were their major concerns? If you can name 3 key concerns.
See, the key concern is there are really many, I am not talking about Guwahati. I have been to places like from Sadia to Dhubri, all over. I say I met all the students from all the states. So some people, even they are not aware of what CV and resume still means. So see, the things that their concern is that most of them are still hoping that they would get a government job. Someone told them in their ears, try for government job. They are not telling that, see, suppose if there are 5 seats, as ma'am says, the jobs are limited. So like 10 jobs or 20 maybe, and then many will be rejected. No one has oriented them about rejection. So still they are in a hope that they will get a government job, for which they can go into any extent. Fair, unfair, all means they are ready to do it. But then they are lost, because suppose they try for 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, and many of them they lost. Some of them they do not get good marks to pursue higher education in universities, they are again lost. They think that, okay, doing a degree from a distance course would be doing good, but which is again we know for thing. So I would say the information gap. So no one has given them the authentic. Information might be there, but authentic and exact true information is missing. So for which they are in a confused state. They do not have a plan, because they do not know what to do. So I would say that information, and then yes, the teachers, the parents or other things, they also need to have, as like counselors, how the independent counselors can go and do this process. That is really missing. And the atmosphere and exposure level. No, that is possible. Now with technology you can do it, but that proper someone need to be a catalyst who can teach them, who can orient them, and then let them have the choice and the choosing part they can have. But before I choose anything, I need to know. I need to know at least the information. So I would say the absence of authentic information leading to many confusion amongst the students.
I would like Loya to add on to
Yes,
that very
I
quickly.
agree with you what you've said. If I could give an action plan to parents who are watching today's program, this is what I would say. I would say prepare your children, start now, as soon as you can. Make sure they're up with current affairs, make sure they read the newspapers every day, they listen to the news, make sure they have communication skills, leadership skills, make sure they're confident in language, make sure that they have aptitude tests, they're good at abstract thinking, they're good at reasoning powers, mathematics, mental mathematics, abstract abilities, creative thinking. Those are the things that we can start working on early, because these are exactly the things that job recruiters are looking for. And the other three things, which I said is the resume, they can work on the resume. These things can happen afterwards, but these are the three most important aspects that they must be working on.
Can
early.
I just put in my two penny bit? Yeah.
Yes, in
you
fact,
know, because you know what I'm talking about is that students should read newspapers,
Yes.
students should listen to the thing. All right, but the parent should also know. Now, suppose the child comes and tells the father that there's a soft skills program going on in the building opposite me. I want to attend that. What is soft skills? Why do you need it? Father does not have any idea, so it stopped. So
it all
Yeah.
boils down to lack of awareness at every level.
Yeah.
We are running out of time. Ranjan, last words from you. What is the way forward?
Be passionate, everything is possible. We'll, if ready, I see, I'm very positive. If we are passionate, we believe our dream, we plan. If not a corporate from Delhi or something, we will start a corporate here.
Yes.
As a former in charge of placement, ma'am, what is that you would like to say to the campuses, to the institutes?
to the institutes, to the teachers, keep your eyes open and an open mind about placement, about the jobs which the students can do. Don't limit your thinking, that's for the teachers, the thinking to the job which you have done. There are lots of openings nowadays. For the students, take advantage of your teachers. They know a lot, even if you think they don't. They do know a lot. Take advantage of their knowledge and try to go forward. The sky is the limit actually, it is. We have such good students who have gone to such limits, even we didn't think they'd go, but they have. So I don't say if they could go, why can't others go? That's all.
Loya, your mantra for the students as far as communication skills are concerned.
Start early and make it a way of life, because one day you'll be rewarded for everything that you've done. Yes.
And can you assure all your students that the campus cells of not just Assam Engineering, all the institutes, colleges will do all they can to ensure everybody gets placed?
Yes, everybody, it's a joint effort from all the stakeholders. You can say the parents, teachers, students, the companies, everybody. The companies expect something, we are supposed to give that. And we are there to groom them, not only us. I hope that all the colleges or all the institutes around in the Northeast develop a good placement cell who groom the students. And one last thing, as I told you, there are not so many jobs available as many students are passing out. So it is not that if you don't get a placement, it's not the end of everything. Spread your wings, be your own boss, try to develop a skill you're passionate about and go forward in life with that. I'm sure everybody is going to succeed.
So if we can sum it up safely here is that communication skills of course is very important, but more important than that is collective effort at every stage to ensure that each child grows up to a sharp student, and sky's the limit, as our panelists just said here. With that, we come to the end of this show. We thank our panelists for such a wonderful discussion, not to forget the audience who chipped in with all their vital inputs. Keep watching Beyond the Bites. We'll come back next week with yet another episode, yet another topic. Till then, stay safe, stay well. Thank you for watching.